Yo, what is good, y'all? It is your boy, A Sincere. We are back with another episode of the Soundflick podcast.
Yeah.
Specifically, we are episode 56.
56.
56.
5-6.
Real quick, before we get started, to my right-hand side,
Started.
we have my co-star, brother.
No, Rick, that's cool.
Rick, that's cool. Yeah, bum. Straight ahead from us, my brother, co-star.
Skywalker, Mike.
What it do, boo?
What's
Hey.
up?
Yo, what's good, y'all? Look, guys, I'm so excited about this episode. We have,
Yes.
to me, top 5 Marvel films. It just came out.
One of the most anticipated movies of the year. Not the most anticipated, but anticipated.
Not only
You don't
that,
think it's
but
I feel like it is, honestly.
No, Spider-Man is.
Spider-Man is. But
most
Oh, yeah, that's
anticipated.
right. That's coming out this year. You
not
know,
only
you're right,
that,
you're right.
but this movie was one of those, I want to say sleeper in the sense that not everybody are as open to new heroes, or not everybody is into origin stories or focusing on someone that they don't know anything about, especially with Shang-Chi being not a household hero name.
Yeah.
I mean, they should know this by now. With Guardians, with Ant-Man, like they've done it time and time again of introducing characters that you didn't know anything
Right.
about.
Black Panther was one of them too.
Right.
You know.
And that's a shame. But you know, some more than others. You know,
Right.
I put Black Panther and Doctor Strange in like the kind of same type of where
Yeah.
people knew them,
Yeah,
but
right,
they didn't really know
exactly.
them. But no one knew Ant-Man,
No.
and no
Right.
one knew Guardians,
Right.
unless you looked at comics and knew
Exactly.
the Avengers and everything like that. So
But with that being said, episode 56 is dedicated to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Shang-Chi.
So this film, I just want to start off by saying, cinematography, great. Storyline, well-paced.
Martial arts.
Fight
Choreography.
scenes, choreography, amazing.
Hands.
Not only that, the album slaps.
Yes.
You remember
It's
that
the
show?
full package.
You remember that show Iron Fist? Neither do I.
No, it's trash. It's trash.
You remember
Iron
Donda and
Fist-
CLB?
Iron
Neither
Fist-
do I.
Iron Fist, I know for real. Iron Fist should never, ever, ever, ever get brought up or mentioned ever again now
Who?
that Shang-Chi is out.
I
Who?
did before the movie came out because I was like, I wanted it to connect, and now I'm like, I don't.
I remember
don't
you
want
saying that.
show.
I was
don't
just
even
like,
want this
no.
show to come back
No,
ever again.
not at all. Not at all. I never want to hear anything about
It
Iron Fist.
it has a similar, I guess, storyline to Shang-Chi, because with the invisible city, and it only appears every
Right.
once in a while.
Yeah, Kung Lun.
Kung Lun and
No. We're not even going to talk about it. It is
Yeah.
Shang-Chi time. This is
Shang-Chi.
All right, y'all.
Shang-Chi
Yeah.
So without
time.
further ado,
it needs a spotlight. For
Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings definitely needs a spotlight.
Yes.
So, brand new origin story fits perfectly in where the MCU is. Just to give you guys some backstory on who Shang-Chi is and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Yes, we have all seen Iron Man 3. We all hated Iron Man 3. The
Even
Ten
Iron
Ring.
Man 1.
Anyways, Iron Man 3
Yeah,
brings
they do
up
show up
the Mandarin and the Ten Rings. Okay. So, back then, before Marvel cleans up nicely in this film, I might add, they retcon all that. The Ten Rings is a terrorist, so air quotes, terrorist organization that
It's been
basically
around for thousands of years.
been around thousands of years. Basically, what they do is they get involved in politics in the sense they make governments fall. They're all about making money, being the bad guy, not being the bad guy. Who knows what the Ten Rings is? But in Iron Man 3, they're basically the organization that kidnaps Tony Stark and basically holds him hostage, etc.,
They did
etc.
that
in the
in
first
Iron Man
one,
1.
and then in the third one,
Gotcha. Sorry.
they pretend to be the Ten Rings, I guess.
Well, there's an American terrorist that decides to use the Legend of the Ten Rings,
Right.
as
a front.
as a front
There we go.
organization that is doing terror acts to Iron Man. And they hired an actor to play the leader of the Ten Rings, which we saw in Iron Man 3. Shout out Ben Kingsley,
My bad. I want to say Simmons.
who played the come on, man. who played Trevor Slattery. And Trevor Slattery played the Mandarin.
the chicken
and
dish.
The chicken dish.
God.
I love that. So now we're seeing the actual Ten Rings organization. And the only, thing that does suck is that Iron Man doesn't exist anymore.
Correct.
And the Mandarin in the comics is Iron Man's, villain. Like that the Ten Rings is an Iron Man villain. So it would have been great to see that comic realized.
Yeah.
But it's totally understandable within the context of the MCU.
Correct.
Why we haven't seen that. And I think this story is brilliant in the way that they've introduced the real Ten Rings into the MCU.
I think if they would have did it in the movie, it wouldn't have made sense because of where the Ten Rings are actually originated from.
Right.
Like, I don't see the correlation with Tony Stark other than Trevor Slattery pretending to be the man.
Yeah. Within the narrative of the MCU, it doesn't work. There's tons of comics of Iron Man fighting the Mandarin, where that could have, they could have pulled from that, but totally it wouldn't make sense now.
I think it's just the way the Marvel universe started with Iron Man. They didn't think it was going to become an extended universe.
Right. Yeah.
So it'd be the same thing with the Hulk. They kind of just have to roll with the punches and go with what they have.
Oh, they rolled with the punches.
Yes,
in
they did.
Shang-Chi. There was a lot of punches thrown.
A lot of kicks.
A lot of kicks.
A lot of jokes. A lot of jokes.
Yeah.
So to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, comic-wise, when it comes to the Ten Rings, originally, in the movie, his name is Wenwu. I forget his name in the comics, but for sake of that, let's just call him Wenwu. He finds or stumbles upon the Ten Rings in the movie. They don't confirm it, but they say they found it in like either a spacecraft or like in a crater of some sort. In the comics, the Ten Rings is actually actual rings, but I like what they did where actually making it bracelets. Because one, it strays away from the whole Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want it in the form of like a ring or a glove. Second, I forget the name of the fighting style, but there are rings that in I believe it's Japanese culture, a fighting style that uses rings in the form of fighting, which you see that a lot in this film. With that being said, these fight scenes so well done, and they had so many people attached to Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan as well, from the heroes and the villains.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think Marvel has gotten to the point where they can take creative liberties with some of these powers. The Ten Rings originally were all elemental for the most part.
Yes.
Each ring, having a certain element, and I think like, if I'm not mistaken, one of them has to do with gravity, and like there's like something else.
Yeah. So in the comics, each one there's like a being within each ring.
Yeah, and
they each have a different element.
And you can just call it out. These rings don't really have like an elemental aspect to them, but it's like a little bit of each, because they have this magnetism,
and they all work together as well. Instead of each one having its own.
Not only that, the elements are even brought still into the movie with
with
kind of
water.
looks like
They're airbending.
Yeah.
They're airbending.
I literally was like, why does this feel like an Avatar movie?
It did feel like an Avatar movie.
Right after our Shyamalan episode.
We
as
will
well.
not mention him.
Imagine if he did this movie. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Keep him away.
But it did give me the Avatar
Those
Last Airbender vibes.
Yes.
I love that.
So this is our latest origin film, post Endgame for the Marvel Universe. So this takes place a year after the events of Endgame,
which is the year 2024.
Which is the year 2024. So
it's present day.
This is present day. It's beyond WandaVision.
Yes.
It is beyond Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we can't really say it's beyond Loki because all of the events of Loki existed outside of the timeline.
Yeah, we don't even know.
So we're not quite sure within like what has happened and what those ripple effects are.
Right.
And we don't know if it's after No Way Home or before No Way Home. That's we'll see if that is the case.
Speculate.
We can only speculate. But this origin film is with Shang-Chi, also going by the name of Sean.
Freaking kids can't think of a better name.
You didn't think he was gonna find you with a name like that?
You named your
valet
name from
driver,
Shang to Sean,
right? He's a valet driver with his friend Katie, who is played by Aquafina.
Gang.
In San Francisco. which I thought was kind of cool because Ant-Man resides in San Francisco.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, maybe we might be able to see like some Ant-Man stuff that can potentially happen.
No.
Yeah, we didn't actually see that, but there
It was only
potential.
a San Fran for like a brief moment in the movie. And
Yeah.
then they
just
went
just the
to-
first act, if you want to call it that.
And then they went to what's that city?
So I thought,
Macau.
yeah, it was Macau. I originally thought from the trailer, from the breakdowns, I thought it was Madripoor,
Yeah, I thought it was going to be
looks similar.
Madripoor too.
but yes, it was in Macau.
I think they talk about it too. Maybe not though, because it might be just comic book, but in the comics, in Madripoor, Wolverine fights Abomination. So that's I don't know. And they showed Abomination, and Madripoor is already a thing. So it's kind of like people are just putting two and two together.
Yeah,
it's a theory, but it goes back.
It's just great seeing that they
people
pull
wanting-
so many stories from comics and do it right.
yeah. Well, they're at the point now that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more surprise cameos.
Yes.
Because
I was very surprised, by the way.
not only is it opened up to the multiverse, but it's also opened up to a lot of variants. And there's openings to we don't know where it's actually going to go. So everyone that they pull, they're pulling for a reason, for some sort of narrative string that's going to get pulled later. So Abomination fighting Wong, as we know, Wong is the protector of the Chinese sanctum at this time, while Doctor Strange is the protector of the New York one. We don't know if the London one got rebuilt after it was destroyed in Doctor Strange. So that remains to be seen. We'll see if that comes into play. But just the whole dynamic of things going on, everything is just more out in the open now. It's like you can't these aren't like conspiracy findings on the internet where we saw this. It seems like that the whole world knows that freaky shit is going on.
Yeah.
So like seeing Abomination isn't scaring anybody, isn't making people feel like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm looking at. They're just like, oh well, that's just Abomination. Like he's just out here fighting. Like it, So I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's really cool that we're here now. Because then now you can introduce mutants, you can introduce
Easily.
aliens, you can introduce all kinds of things.
It's just commonplace.
It's like the Earth is just starting to understand that, like, hey, we aren't alone, and all this shit can happen.
They can do it in anything. Like they're doing it in the shows where they introduce a character, but then it might be brief, and then they'll come back later, like Val.
Yeah, like Val.
Pretty much going around and trying.
Which
to
I thought
build
that
a
she was
team.
going to make an appearance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
She could have probably. Maybe there was a scene. Who knows? Because it seemed like they were trying to put her in everything since
Falcon.
Since Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I think that she's only going to make appearance in shows.
Well, she was
in Black Widow, but I think that
Black Widow.
Yeah, I think that it's just going to be like kind of like a show thing.
The next time we'll probably see her is in Hawkeye, but we'll already know who she is.
Yeah.
Whether you saw the show or the movie, So I think it's just interesting that they can just throw Abomination in there, have no real role.
Right.
And now you can put him in anything else and people will be like, oh, he was there. Like, it makes sense. He exists, Like, you just give the people the thought that it's already possible.
Yep.
He's already there. He's gonna come out in She-Hulk, which is confirmed with I forget who plays She-Hulk and Bruce Banner, which we also caught a glimpse of.
Yeah,
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get there. So this movie is after seeing this movie, I understand where Phase 4 is. The theme of Phase 4 is family. And I think that is really...
Vin Diesel, is that
I know,
you?
I know,
Let's say
right?
Fast and Furious confirmed?
Fast and Furious confirmed. But it is about family, which is really, really cool because every show that has come out, whether it was WandaVision, it was about her finding her family or starting her family. Black Widow, it was about Black Widow's family. Even Falcon and the Winter Soldier had these family aspects to it. Both Bucky trying to find his a family, a place that he can reside in, while Falcon was defending his own.
Right.
Loki in a weird way was about family because of himself.
Love himself.
Exactly. But with Shang-Chi, it's about family as well. You know, Shang is trying to run away from his family's legacy. He has a father who was a terrorist, and he has a mother who was from a place that he's never seen
Hidden
before,
village.
a hidden village,
A
that
hidden
he's
village
never seen
that
before.
is an extension of Earth that only appears once a year, I believe it is.
Yeah,
No.
like no, I
It
think what-
appears all the time, but the maze is
Sorry, the
always
maze
changing.
opens. Yeah.
So and he's just heard about it as far as like it's folklore, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's just this
It's
story.
just a
But
story. Yeah.
his mom carried this angelic presence, and his father changed his ways, you know, and he wasn't even around. Like he didn't know that his dad was like this when he was born, because his dad already put the 10
Yeah.
rings,
Put the 10
put-
rings
yeah,
down.
put 'em down.
put it down,
Became a
wanted to
family
be a
man.
family
Playing
exactly.
DDR.
Yeah, playing.
He was
I
playing
thought that
DDR. I was like,
hilarious.
yo.
That was
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to what we were saying in Iron Man. When we saw the 10 rings, when he put the 10 rings down is when people started to take the name.
Yes.
Because he wasn't there to stop that.
Because that's when it became a legend because they
Yeah.
weren't active.
And
Yeah.
then later on, when he does put the 10 rings on, he's like, I got to build it back up now. Because people think we're a joke, but we're not.
Yeah,
Like, we're coming for you.
and
And
then
that's when Trevor.
And when
comes
you
into
saw, because when you saw the one shot of Trevor, which is on Disney Plus, so it's called it's not Return to the King, it's like
Something about the king.
something about the king. Sorry guys, I forgot, but
It's available on Disney Plus now. But
Yeah.
I think it's called All Hail the King.
All Hail the King. There
which
you
is
go.
the
Thank
only
you.
one shot they've ever done.
No, they've done other ones.
Really?
Yeah, they did a lot during the.
I guess that's the most popular one.
It was like the last one that they did, honestly, because they did a lot during the Avengers time. They have Fury's Big Week, where we saw a What If episode about that, but they have it split into different one shots that they did, where Coulson's going around, and you know they have all this stuff.
I didn't see that one.
But with this, it really puts into perspective that his wife, you know, he basically restarts the 10 rings right after he sees Trevor Slattery make a mockery of who he is. You know, it's like right after that, that's when the 10 rings get started again. And in All Hail the King, that's when he started, you know, getting it back, and he was being ruthless and took him hostage.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then I didn't think, you know, they were even gonna bring up that, you know, talk about the Mandarin, and he kind of talks about how he's like, why did he name himself the Mandarin, like a chicken dish of China and all that. And it's just brief, and then I didn't realize Trevor was going to be in the movie until I saw like press run.
Bro,
Yeah.
it was such
I was
a
like,
good-
what? They're actually gonna have him in here. Which makes sense because of the one shot, but I wasn't sure if they were gonna keep like the one shot around.
I definitely thought it was going to be a smaller role. I was really surprised that he was pretty much the second.
He was in the second half of the film.
Yeah, he was pretty much in the second half
He wasn't
of
a
the film.
huge part, but he did help them get through the forest.
Because he could speak to the little the chicken pig.
Yeah.
That thing was comedy.
Having
when
an
they first saw
otherworldly
it.
being like that would have, I guess, like you're desensitized to those kinds of things, but
Right.
that would have freaked me out a little bit more seeing
No,
something
that's
like
probably
that.
the weirdest thing I've seen Marvel create.
Ever have.
Well, not only
But
that,
the thing is, it's an actual thing in folklore.
in
Chinese
folklore, yeah,
history.
it's a mythical being. But also, he was like, "Wait, you're real?"
He's
'cause
like,
he's
oh,
he's
thank
been-
goodness you
yeah.
can see him too. I thought I was going crazy. It's comedy when Aquafina's like, where's its face? I was like,
It's a chicken pig. But I guess just to back up real quick, so like we're kind of where we left off before we kind of got sidetracked. He works at a hotel in California, which is hilarious considering that they sing Hotel California.
Yes, yeah.
a lot.
But he basically ran away at the age of 14 because after his mom passed, his dad wanted to
Started
raise
to
him.
train him as an assassin.
Yes, taught him every single way to kill a man, and that's because of his mom dying due to his dad's old ways. He was just like, pick up where we left off. I'm gonna build up my legacy. That way, my son takes over for me.
And then his son runs away.
His son runs away on his very first mission, where the mission was to
Leaving his sister behind because his sister was not being treated well by their father.
She was basically just there because he focused on the 10 rings and Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
His first mission was to actually go and kill the
Mother's
person
murderer.
The
Yes.
leader of
The Iron Gang.
the leader of the
This
Iron
is
Gang.
hilarious
which is-
considering Iron Man is his main
Yes.
villain. But
Mhm.
he goes and does it. He then later on, it's not a big piece, but he then later on says that he went through with it, but after that he just ran. He is kept going.
Spoilers, guys. Sorry.
You should have seen it by
Yeah.
already.
It's been about a month.
Yeah.
Almost.
But they go. He goes through with it. He runs away at the age of 14. But the whole time, according to his father, he knew where he was.
Yeah, because he's the leader of a giant terrorist organization, has
He
eyes everywhere.
named himself Sean.
He went from Shang to Sean. Shang Chi.
I feel like that's not too bad. It probably his last name probably wasn't Chi. It was probably Sean Lee.
Yeah.
Hello, hello, Sean John.
Oh,
Sean Lee.
Shout out Diddy.
Dead.
Anyways, so he ends up in San Francisco, meets Katie. The whole time, this guy knows how to defend himself, knows how to fend for himself. But
the bus scene was so dope.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've seen that
Basically
scene so
his-
many times because of the trailer, but
yeah.
finally seeing it in full
In
was
its
really
whole.
cool.
So pretty much his father said, "All right, I've had my eyes on you this whole time. Now it's time to bring you in,
Yeah, and I
so
need
that we can
that
do this."
pendant.
Yeah, because we don't find out why he wants to bring Shang in. It's just interesting because I think within the Asian community in that dynamic, there's just something about a father and a son, like a father passing down what they need to pass down to the
Right.
son, and the son
Yeah.
being ready to accept that. And the pressures of being ready to accept that kind of a legacy and keep it going. And someone like Wen Wu, who has this entire terrorist organization, it doesn't matter to him. He's done it all, and he's done it for years and thousands of years because the 10 rings, cause him to not age. And so he's like, I need to pass this down to somebody. I can't trust anybody else to do this, and I'm bored pretty much.
Right.
You talking about that? I got like the picture of the story of Invincible.
Yeah.
I lived for so long, and now I have you, and I want to teach you. And then it's like, no, I don't want to learn from you. And then it's like, well, now
What's 16
now
years?
you're my
Yeah.
enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's a problem, and I love that, Marvel creates its villains so well that it's never just a person that's just trying to destroy everything. There's always a real goal, even with Thanos.
Well, that's what
it
I
was just a real goal
That's
for
what I
them.
loved about Wen Wu. He wasn't trying to take over the world. He just wanted his wife back, and he had gone crazy because of the effects of the 10 rings. That what he thought he was hearing, he thought that was
That he was hearing
that
his
was
wife.
the truth, that his wife is on the other side, and they trapped
And you can't
her.
really blame him because he was seeing it also.
Right.
He was seeing it. He had this and he's the most powerful guy that he knows.
Yeah.
So it's like, why wouldn't I believe what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
And Shang just didn't want anything to do with it. And so Wen Wu sent a hit team basically to go and retrieve him and his sister.
Right. So first, don't forget he sends a postcard.
Yes, he sends a postcard
So-
because he wants his sister and him to be in the same place.
Procedure
But
to capture them both.
But when that didn't happen, then he sent a hit team to him in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he, knowing that he trained Shang so well, and the Death Dealer trains Shang so well that his team, he basically sent his team to get murked. He was like, they're not going to be able to capture him, but I need him to know that I'm looking for him, because then he's going to make a mistake and do stuff. The more he doesn't know that I'm looking for him, the more he's just going to be oblivious to like what's going on.
Right.
And he was like, I was hoping, I love the conversation that he had with him. He was like, I was hoping that you were going to like do something, but you didn't do anything, and like playtime is over, basically. Your vacation is over.
I told my team they weren't going to be able to capture you alive capture you alive, basically. And I'm glad I was right.
Or dead. I think
Dead,
is what you mean.
dead or alive.
Because they did capture him alive.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And then we had this amazing bus scene of him fighting,
Shot so well.
fighting the 10 rings, and also fighting a
Razor Fist.
Yeah, Razor Fist. I was gonna say a very
Candyman?
small. He's like a D level villain.
He's a D-level actor.
There's
I'd say.
Razor Face, Razor Fist. Hello.
Right.
It's Taser Face, actually.
Taser
It
Face.
was
My bad.
That's true. That's true.
Candyman? Is that you?
No,
Oh.
it's not. It's Razor Fist. With his machete arm that we
a razor.
don't understand how it works because it was just a little
His arm.
component. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
I think it was just his. It was just like
I just don't know how a blade that big retracts that much.
I don't think it retracts. I
into
think he
the
had
nub.
it out the whole time. No.
No, it retracts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
I'm not
retracts
sure.
and comes out.
Well, I don't know if you notice a lot of the Ten Rings weapons looked like it was powered by some energy source, whether it was the Ten Rings or something else that Wen Wu found and
Yeah,
converted it to all his
could have
weapons.
been like vibranium
It's
or something.
nanotech. You never know.
You know, it kind of reminded me of the tech that the Black Widows use. You know, like the you know, her little electricity or
Yeah,
stingers
exactly.
type of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was
And
like.
I saw that on the Razor Fist too. He had
His was more of like a heat. He had like a heat
okay.
blade, pretty much,
Yeah,
and
cut like butter.
But the
yeah.
technology has to probably be from something Wen Wu knows about.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. You know, I think that that he probably has access to all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
And
After
everything's
years.
accessible in this universe. Just you have to assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's
I thought it
everything.
was great. I love that Marvel's like bringing in these C/D level Marvel characters to fight. Like I loved when
Death
Batroc
Dealer.
was in there. I love Death
Right.
Dealer. Like I think that there's a really cool group of people that we've seen that are like the low level, but they make an impact. You know, it's
Right.
crossbones. I just think that like it's cool to add that now, and like
Yeah.
I bet it's really
Well,
really
yeah,
fun
it's-
to make a Marvel movie now because there's like so much that you can do. As before, it was like, no, we need to stick to
Yeah.
this saga
Because
right here.
I think, you know, seeing Shang fight just, you know, henchmen, like might as well just throw a D level villain
Yeah.
in there because nobody knows these henchmen. It's not like, oh my God, that's henchman number 4.
Yeah.
Like, no way. You know, you have to throw a recognizable name that comic book heads, or even if you're not a comic book head, at least you'll have somebody be like, oh, that's one of the villains that works for Wen Wu type
Mhm.
thing. So you can just put a name to it, and might as well put a name to it from somebody that's from the comics.
Yeah, and kind of build it out a little bit more. Even he had character development.
My car.
So yeah, so one of the
That's
cool
my
things,
car.
one of the cool things is that everybody in this movie had character development. It wasn't just Shang-Chi. You know, everyone started out in a certain place, and the plot and the script itself drove everyone to be different.
Mhm.
Pretty much every single person that had speaking lines grew,
Yeah.
which I thought was just really amazing to have in an
which
origin
makes
film.
sense why they killed the Death Dealer off. 'Cause
Yeah, because didn't speak at all.
did not speak.
Yeah.
Supposedly in the comic books, he's short lived as well. So I wanted to see more, but you know, he kind of can't.
He served his purpose when was needed.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that there would have been another fight between Death Dealer.
wanted the
and-
rematch. That's what I
and-
did
yeah,
want. I
yeah,
wanted the
I thought that
rematch.
there was.
He was
gonna
about
be
to
a
kill him.
rematch.
Yeah, but
Shang-Chi was about to kill him.
who fought him? The aunt, I think, fought him instead.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he went to go fight his dad, which was pretty good
Which is fire.
scene as well. Which
Yeah.
kind of goes back to me thinking of Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, you don't want to help me, like
Yeah. Then I got a murky right
blast
now.
you into the ocean or
Yeah.
whatever the hell.
Oh,
the
he
lake.
caught it in his chest, bro.
Yeah.
That was just.
Yeah,
Luckily, he
Yeah.
had that armor, that dragon
And
armor.
he knocked the wind out of him. He couldn't even breathe. He was underwater.
Yeah. Yeah. it
But
was
I guess
crazy.
to kind of like fast forward a tiny bit where he ends up in what was the city again? Macau.
No.
What after he gets captured or the hidden
uh,
city?
Where we speed up to the fight scene, to the fight club.
Oh yeah, they're in Macau.
Mm.
So they go in Macau after he realizes that Razor Fist succeeds in getting
Getting his
the-
chain that he
yes.
has, and he's like, they're gonna go after my sister.
So he
next.
takes a flight, along the flight,
Yeah.
tells Katie his backstory, what happened, and then they end up there. He gets introduced to I believe the character's name is Ronnie, but he calls him Busboy,
Mhm.
not realizing his whole flight that he became viral over YouTube or whatever they use in the MCU. It's very
Yeah.
commonplace for them
Because
to-
they have the guy who's also been in Spider-Man. He was in New York.
He was the
in a
guy
hot
that was
dog.
like, Spider-Man, do a flip.
I want to know why he wasn't. I guess
Why he
it
wasn't in
doesn't
San
really
Francisco?
matter, but why was
Yeah.
he in San Fran if he was in New York?
Yeah.
I'm assuming just a different character. They're just gonna call him like a doppelganger.
I don't think he's
Or-
a different character. I think he's the same guy, but
You know what?
he's creating
They-
his own.
You
like,
know what they could do? They could just be like, he has a twin and he lives in San Fran.
I think it's better if they start developing him like where because there are just some people who are always in the right spot at the right
Yeah.
time,
Right.
And he's just one of those guys where it's like I'm always he's like the cabbage guy from Avatar. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
The
just
cabbage guy.
he's
My
in the right place
cabbages.
at all times. And he's like, oh, well, now I'm here. And watch, I guarantee now that he shot that video, he's going to start gaining a following.
Like a
And
YouTube.
he's just going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Which is
No,
dope.
for sure.
I dig it.
He's just
Might as
gonna
well.
he's gonna go around like finding other superhero people and like
Yeah.
He used to be
filming
that guy
them.
that records just all the fights and stuff happening.
Watch
Yeah.
when Luke Cage comes in, he's gonna film the Luke Cage fight.
If Luke Cage ever comes in. I
True.
don't know if that's going to happen.
I think it will.
But let's fast forward to the Fight Club. Sean then signing a contract, not knowing what it is, but he signs
To
up for a
join the
fight,
fight.
to join a fight. Exactly. He gets introduced to, I think it's Ronnie again as Busboy, not realizing he became viral overnight. And then we see a few kind of Easter eggs, such as a Black Widow fighting inside a
Yes,
inside a cage.
and it is actually the same actress that was in the movie Black Widow.
And
You
she's
can see
credited
her-
as a widow.
Yeah,
in the
you,
movie.
you can
Yeah.
see that she was
That's
part of the
fire.
group and got
See,
released.
I didn't pay too much attention to that part when they were going down the hall.
Yeah, it was super cool. It was her fighting a member who went through the Extremis
Yes.
program in Iron Man 3. So it just goes to show you, when we watch Black Widow, I think we talked about it in this podcast, like what's going to happen to the widows, like where are they going to go, and seeing that
Yeah, that's
they
what's happening.
probably all went back to their place of origin,
Right.
but they all have a set of skills that
Yeah,
some
you
of
can't-
them,
you can't forget that.
yeah, you just don't know where you're going to end up. And she happened to be in a fight
You can't
club.
just put that on a resume.
Yeah, I'm sure that
Maybe.
there might have been a widow from like Wakanda or something like that
Right.
who had to find their way back, who we may see in
Yeah.
Black Panther, Wakanda
sure.
Forever, or anything like that. So now all the widows can pop up wherever, which I feel like is really, really cool.
Right.
Kind of gives a little bit of legacy to like Black Widow also. And just adds to what Marvel's able to do
Yeah.
right now. There's so much around that you can just pull from whatever. And then we see the main event.
We see the fight that was in the trailer, that there's so much speculation, so much like one of the theories was
So much
that-
speculation and just that was
well,
it.
like one of the theories that I kind of almost agreed with, which obviously didn't happen, was the 10 Rings was hosting that event, and when Wu was looking for somebody to hold the 10 Rings, so they're holding like a tournament of champions, which wasn't true. But
I'm
it was
not gonna
still a pretty
lie,
dope
that
theory.
doesn't that sounds like a decent theory, but it sounds super generic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
so I'm
it
glad
definitely is something that I could imagine goes through the writing room of like, all right, are they going to have a tournament like for this? But like even when you say it, it's like, but I've seen like so many tournaments
Mortal
before. You have
Kombat,
Mortal
duh.
Kombat, you have, like Enter the Dragon,
You
you
have
have
Super
all these
Smash
other
Brothers.
That
things.
would
No,
have
I
took
feel
up a
you.
lot of the movie.
Yeah, it
So
would have been a
it
little
was
bit
cool
too
it was
much.
shorter.
But
I agree.
we see the fight between confirmed Wong and Abomination.
And they know each other. They're
They
friends.
yeah, but
don't
so
know
when we
why,
don't see
but-
that we see that after the fact, but I'm so glad they left it out of the trailer. But Wong knocking him out the way he kind of Call Obsidian like in Infinity War.
Yeah, you just
uses a
created a
portal.
portal.
I wonder if because in Abomination they mentioned him one time after the Hulk movie, and it was in a show.
hmm
It was in Agents of Shield,
Yeah.
and it was a small little reference talking about
He was in cryosleep.
Yeah, he was in a cryosleep, and it was Coulson threatened. He's like, "Do you want to do this, or do you want to stand by the Abomination's cryo cell?" So I wonder if he was on the raft, and Wong happened to
Well, I feel like it has to do with the
get him
snap.
out.
I feel like it has to do with the snap. So when
yeah.
the snap happened, like I think he may have disappeared, or the people who were guarding him may have disappeared, and him understanding like, okay, well, this isn't running the same way anymore. Like people, that's the only thing that I feel about the MCU, because you had such a huge event that affects every
Everything.
possible
Yeah.
thing that they haven't really talked about. They haven't really explained how that's affected.
But also it's
everything,
just like
you
we
know?
here now. This is it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they're gonna explain it. I would love for them to
Yeah.
figure out a medium where they can.
I think they
But,
will before like a major title movie. you
Yeah.
know? Which would probably be in Doctor Strange. I think is
Right.
where they're going to explain that.
Yeah.
Or even Eternals. I mean, they kind of do talk about a lot
Mm-hmm.
in Eternals just in the trailer alone. So there's still going to be some stuff that we're not going to know until those movies come out.
And I think with before they introduced the X-Men, I think a lot of people who have powers have gravitated towards Doctor Strange and Wong and people
Right.
who have like they're creating housing for them.
Yeah.
You know, saying, "Hey, you can be over here." Aside from the people who are in Madripoor or something like
Right.
that, you know what I mean? There's just places where you can go where you aren't, because obviously you can't live a regular life.
Right.
So if you don't want to be in a life of crime, but you still want to like live your life, that's kind of what I got from it, you know? So we don't know really if Abomination is technically a villain. It's been a little while and he's probably accepted who he is.
And again, I don't think we'll know
you know?
until She-Hulk. When
Yeah,
we'll see
right.
him again
I
for
agree.
sure with the storyline, character development. We'll see if it's going to be who plays him again? Tim Roth?
Tim Roth. It
yeah.
is Tim Roth, because even in this Abomination,
call him
he did growls and he did
Oh, okay,
voiceover
tight.
for
See, I didn't know that.
Abomination.
Yeah, he's credited, but also it's confirmed with Abomination because Wong calls him by his real name, which is Emil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
That could be part of his rehabilitation, because it's like, I don't want to be known as Abomination, but
Yeah.
you know, it's like, I'm gonna call you by your name and
Yeah, well,
feel
that,
like
that kind of goes back to the like Marvel doesn't really ever say the title of the actual character's name.
this is
you
true.
know?
This is true.
So-
I mean, and that's their specialty, right?
Mhm.
It's like you care about these characters because you care about the person who is under the character.
right.
And I think that he's no different. And honestly, I could see him going through the same mental like breakdowns as the Hulk, you know, because like, how do you accept yourself for like what you did? All he
Yeah.
wanted to do was just be a peak soldier, but then he turned into this monstrosity.
Yeah.
And
Would you
then,
say he's
and we
turned
don't-
into an Abomination?
I mean, I would say, but you just said it.
Thanks. Yeah,
Thanks.
I hate it here.
But yeah, you know, so that was just really dope and really interesting, because that thread was just left open. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know why Wong brought him in back into
Yeah.
the sanctum or anything like that.
Why they even showed Wong in that moment? Like, why they even?
Why
have
was
the
he in the
fight?
tournament? Yeah,
Yeah,
why was
why
he even
even
in
have
the
the fight?
tournament?
So-
Exactly.
That was one of my big questions. Is like,
But Wong doesn't get any money. You know, he talked in Doctor Strange. He was like, I don't have any money. So maybe this
Yeah.
was just him getting some coin.
Don't
He
have
was
any
like,
money.
why not? Why not? I don't want to fight somebody for real. I'm going to fight my friend. And we're going to just make money off the bets.
yeah,
True. You
yeah,
never
no.
Slick.
But
Yeah, going forward from that fight scene, very-
which I'm like, he jumps into another fight scene. Shang-Chi runs into his sister, where he ends up fighting her, which you can tell right away. It was just kind of set up that way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that is. Oh, I'm
Well,
looking for
once
my
she saw the
sister.
signature, she was like, I'm about to fight this dude, because he was probably going to fight someone else.
yeah,
And she was just like, nah, I'm about to fight him because
Yeah.
I
You left me,
I need to catch his fade real quick. And
Sheesh.
and he
And she did.
he was pulling his punches, and she rocked his shit.
yeah, she
Yeah, he
definitely
was-
rocked him.
So-
that hit was like, I felt that in the theater. I
Oh,
was
bro,
like,
he
ooh.
smacked the ground.
yeah. Honestly, one of my favorite scenes was the side of the building with the bamboo.
Right. So that's like
Rafters.
literally 5 minutes after that fight happens.
Because you find out that
the-
his sister runs the organization that is putting on these fights.
So Wenwu, being the devious man that he is, gets them both in the same building. The Ten Rings attacks them. It looks like she leaves them, so he's left to protect himself and Katie. But the sister, being the sister she is, comes back, and then they fight
Saves
together.
her.
Reminds us of Rush Hour 2, the bamboo side of the building
Well,
fight scene.
that's how they do it in China. That's how they make their side, like the rafters to
Well,
do
yeah.
construction.
But the fight scene reminds us of Rush Hour 2.
Well, yeah, no. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
definitely had
shot
the
there.
Jackie Chan feel
Mhm.
to
Definitely.
it, you know, of just that
I
practical
wish
using
Jackie
the
Chan was in
environment.
it.
I
Yeah.
wish Jackie Chan was in it so bad.
That'd have been dope.
It would have been amazing, but it would have been great if he was Wenwu.
Yo.
But that does. I don't want to take
No.
anything away from Tony,
Yeah,
because
Tony Leung was dope.
he is a legend, and having him in his first Hollywood American role as Wenwu was fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, the practical fighting of using your environment around was just really on full display,
Mhm.
and that was amazing. This is like our second or third practical fight within the film that, you know, it really gave us the most deliverable. You know, I
Yeah.
think like the fight between him and Death Dealer was just, it was kind of epic. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, no, it was dope.
without any like magic or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm gonna
Right.
catch your fade real quick.
Yeah, and I remember seeing the the trailer, and I didn't know if Shang-Chi was gonna have powers with or without the rings, you know. And we didn't even see him get the rings till
The
very
very
late
end.
in the movie, you know. And when we saw him use them, we're like, it
Well,
was
it's funny because in the
insane.
comic books, I didn't know whether they were going to bring this in, but in the comic books, he has multiplying powers. Like he can multiply himself.
He probably
fight.
will eventually.
You know, and maybe he'll learn a way to do that, but it's again back to Marvel taking liberties with some of these powers now.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
they've
Kind of
earned
tweaking them.
they've earned the ability to say, okay, we're not going to just have them multiply all over. Like it's just not going to make
Yeah,
sense.
it just
right
doesn't
now.
make
Like,
sense.
So
But also create their own variation, or I guess if you want to call it the
exactly,
variants.
exactly. You know, we're gonna see that I think on display in other Marvel properties in the next few.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, it's different when you bring things to live action. You know, you can't do everything like literally scene for scene like comic book. You know, because it just doesn't make sense. It just does not adapt. You know, so you know it's just gonna be that way. They're gonna be tweaking their movies a lot, you know, or shows a lot, and bringing what they could, whenever it makes sense,
yeah,
into the fold. You know,
yeah. So then just fast forward. We get the introduction of Wenwu and Shang-Chi and his sister. They're all together, and they, Wenwu basically brings them back to the Ten Rings compound and lets them know why he needed them there, and it was for their necklaces to show a way for him
path,
to, the path for him to find his wife, who, up until this point, Shang-Chi and his sister knew died. And
Right.
they were like, "Nah, she's not coming back." Like
Yeah.
I was there,
I
like
saw
it's
it.
not, it's not gonna happen. And
yeah, his dad was just in denial. Like I said,
Yeah.
it goes back to the effects of the Ten Rings, because later on in the movie, the aunt asks him like, "Is he wearing the rings?" You know, and it's like, yeah,
Which
that's
also
what
makes
did
you
it.
question the ring's power, which we get towards the end of the movie, but attached
an
to
origin.
the origin of it being attached to those dark beings that were trapped behind that wall.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, which I want to talk about in a little bit, but kind of I do want to talk about Trevor a little bit. I guess we kind of did, but it was cool to see him help them. You know, he just he just wanted to leave the compound.
I think it was the right amount. I'm glad they brought him in. I remember the whole theater going crazy, like laughing.
Yeah.
Like when he popped up.
Yeah.
It's something I don't think we really expected. You know,
But it
because
was a nice treat.
obviously
Yeah.
the one shot has been out for so long since the ending, pretty much, of Iron Man 3, and it was never used again, but it was never retconned.
Right.
You know, so they pretty much have been setting up for Shang-Chi, or wanting to, for that long at least. Because I don't think they would have did the one shot kind of hinting that the Ten Rings are actually a real organization.
Yeah, I think Kevin Feige always wanted the Ten Rings to manifest itself in a real way. Even in Iron Man 3, when they were like, like there is a real 10 rings, like wasn't just made up the whole time, so eventually we're going to bring it in, but we're going to do it in a way that we could bring it in on our own time.
Right.
And when the property is right. And it was right in this
was
one.
perfect
So-
timing.
And I called, like, I think that they said something about the dungeon with like someone else, or someone else was in the dungeon also. And I knew once I like heard the sound of someone else being there, I was like, oh, that this is where they're going to bring him in. And then they open the door and then they see him there with a mythical creature. And this is where the movie kind of takes a turn into the magic realm. Everything
CGI.
before this, everything before this hasn't really been magic based.
It's been
too
very
much.
practical.
Very practical. Aside from Wong and obviously his magic, but this is where you get to see this new realm, I guess, and we have to now figure out within Earth what this means, because like you have realms, you have realities, you have dimensions. You have
Universe.
The universe.
you have
right.
universes, you have variants, you have the multiverse. Like, how do all of these things kind of tie in together, and what
Right.
defines them?
What defines it? What correlates?
Yeah.
How do you
Exactly.
define which is which?
Exactly.
Right.
So, they now go on this mission. They escape the prison with Trevor Slattery and
He leads them
his
through the
mythical,
maze.
his mythical beast, and they lead through this crazy maze, which I thought was dope.
I
Like
just want to say
having
they're
this.
driving an electric car through that maze. I
Oh,
felt
that,
attached to that.
Did you? Oh, the Tesla.
Oh, because yeah. No, I understand.
I was like,
Ra-
hell yeah.
I'm just glad that Razor Fist is environmentally conscious.
That's what I'm saying, man.
You
My
know?
car. I'll never forget that. When he said that. I didn't think he was actually they're gonna show him reacting to them stealing the car.
And that's the development. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's just like adding these little things. Like you could have
He
not put
has
that at
feelings too.
all. Exactly.
He cares about his
Exactly.
car.
Wood's comedy kind of fast forward after they go through the realms and everything, and we do see like a bunch of mythical beasts, but
Right.
he's
We saw freaking Ninetales, bro.
Yeah,
like
we
they
did.
have Pokemon in there.
Yeah.
And Moltres flying
Yeah,
around.
bro, they
It
had
was
a
crazy.
Growlithe.
Yeah,
was
but
insane.
when they're in the village and they're all fighting, I think somebody mentions we have to work together, and he's like, "Why would we work together? We're the 10 Rings, the most powerful organization.
We don't need your weapons.
And then out of nowhere, like one of those dark
Soul suckers.
dragons, the soul suckers, picks up the Death Dealer and just kills him like that. And I'm like, wow, just like that, he's just
Yeah.
dead. And then he's like, yeah, we'll work together.
Yeah, it's. I like that sometimes you have those kinds of deaths that cause a shock value, where like people they're trying to say like you can die at any moment.
well,
Yeah.
that scene reminded me of the Suicide Squad because that just
Yeah.
showed how expendable that person was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I like that films and television have gotten to that place because prior to this, I would say maybe 10 years ago, every death was a huge climactic experience.
That one was just like,
and I feel
soul
like
done. You're
I feel
out.
like since Game of Thrones, honestly, like I'm giving this credit to Game of Thrones. I think because of Game of Thrones, they have shown that you can just kill somebody and provide a different type of shock value without making it this huge thing. It's like
And
people
just
you didn't
keep it
even know.
pushing.
Yeah, just keep it pushing.
Death
so
happens every day.
and that's what happened with Death Dealer, and that's what happened with Katie's bow and arrow instructor. You know, he just
Poor guy.
got too. Like, and it was just like, oh
Poor guy.
damn, like
Aim
it
for the
happened so
throat.
quick.
And then got.
Fun
Yeah.
fact, I forget his name, but Katie's bow and arrow instructor, he worked side by side with Bruce Lee way back when. So the fact that have people rooted into martial arts and in the industry
Yeah.
speaks volumes about this movie.
So it's just crazy because when they actually get to the hidden city, they realize that this is where they belong the whole time.
Right.
And this is back to that family. You know, he gets introduced, both him and his sister, Shang-Chi and his sister both get introduced to their aunt and to all the people around that
Community.
knew their mom, you know, and they got to pay their respects to their mom and they got to learn from what she knew, you know, and Shang-Chi, I think that they fit in the right amount of his training, of him training with his aunt, of
Right.
saying like, all right, like, please teach me like what I need to
Yeah.
know.
Because
you
it
know,
wasn't
how to
so
do
far
this.
gone because his mom was already training him when he was younger. Or
Exactly.
showing him some of the ways.
And one of the
Exactly.
things his aunt said is like, if you're gonna fight your dad, I need to show you. The only person that ever beat your dad was your mom.
Mhm.
Your mom. And then he pretty much had to get trained.
Yeah.
Like, and beat him the only way that his aunt knew how.
Yeah.
So
And I love that like he had like a half superhero outfit. Like it's like this
Yo!
crazy dragon scale dope shirt with some J's on. Like
Yeah.
that's hard.
Shit was hard.
That's super
I want,
hard.
I want the Shang-Chi ones.
Yeah.
you
That'd be
want those,
so dope.
You don't want those Peter Parker ones that he's wearing in the trailer?
No, the
Those-
Peter
no,
Parker ones are hard.
those are-
Those are way the colorway is insane, bro.
The Peter
Super
Parker
dope.
ones were
They
the.
just-
Are you talking about the ones he was wearing in the trailer with the suit?
Yes,
Those are the
yes.
shadow ones. Those
Yeah,
are worth
bro.
a lot of money on
The one where he's
StockX.
on the building,
fire.
like
Yeah.
laying down.
Oh, okay.
And
Those
they're-
are fire.
They're just they match with everything, bro. Like
But
those are the
it's-
Jordans that I would get if I
They
got
probably
Jordans.
they
for sure.
definitely have like a. I wonder if it's like a sponsorship or if Tom Holland or Shang-Chi actually just wanted to wear Jordans.
I mean, I'm sure that like Nike probably paid them. Like, why
Not
not?
only that,
Like,
but the
it's-
actors getting to keep those shoes is wild.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah, for
auction
sure.
for charity is going to be insane.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
if I were them, I wouldn't even auction them. I'm keeping it.
Nah,
Bury
it's for
me in
charity,
these.
bro.
Now, one thing I don't know is that like, how does his mom know like to make it the size that it
No,
needs
I was
to
going
be?
to ask
I
that,
was
but I'm
just
pretty
like,
sure they tailored it after. They just didn't show us the tailoring, obviously.
after it was like,
I mean,
made-
everybody
I
has to
guess.
use the restroom, but they're not going to show them use the restroom. So obviously,
All right, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I was-
fair.
It's
That's
one
fair.
of those off-screen things.
I feel like that's
That's
always
fair.
my argument. It's like they have to use the restroom.
But
they just
I
have to
was
show
thinking
it.
that too. But I was like, nah, they had to take. Come on.
Yeah,
That'd be funny. There's a blooper though. He's like, this shit don't fit.
If he would have put it
It's
on,
dragon scale.
if he would have put it on at that moment, I'd
Yeah,
have been like,
and it
no,
fit,
no.
yeah,
he just
like,
gets
come on,
stuck.
guys.
He's like, wait a minute. Y'all gotta fix this.
But yeah,
That's funny.
I love the dragon skill, and I love that they kept mentioning a dragon, and
The
you
Great
know,
Protector.
and then they finally showed it underwater, which is weird. I never
Right. So
seen
we'll
it.
fast forward all the way where Shang-Chi gets caught in the chest by his dad, gets sent underwater.
And then he meets the
The
dragon.
Great Protector.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Great Protector dragon, which is the protector of the world, I think, or the realm.
Of the realm.
Of the realm.
You know, it
He's
just
basically the protector of not letting that dark gate come down.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, pretty much.
Which
it did.
when Wu actually no, he does succeed. Let's just say he
No,
succeeds.
he succeeds.
Succeeded with opening up that great dungeon, whatever that
Dark
dark
gate.
being was.
Trying
to
to
his
find his
surprise, his wife was not on the other side.
She was not under
No.
there, and
It-
that's when he came to realize, hey, yo,
Yeah.
this on me.
yeah.
It was a giant monster, which, my theory is that they may be related to the deviants that
Agreed.
have been
In the
on Earth.
Eternals.
Yeah, in the
Yes.
Eternals. I think that they kind of come from that race. It's also has, it's not confirmed, but it has remnants of being Fin Fang Foom because of what
Well,
Fin Fang Foom
that's
does.
different because Fin Fang Foom is a shape-shifting dragon.
Yeah, but it takes energy from
Yeah.
other people, and like it kind of has it's like
is
that
able to
mixed with like
mimic or
Cthulhu,
manipulate.
and like
Yeah.
it just has like this kind of amalgamation of
Yeah.
all of these different aspects and characteristics of characters, and they what they call it, like the soul, like it was like soul. It wasn't, well, the small ones were the soul suckers, but basically if they absorb enough souls, then they'll become powerful enough to take over the realm and
Right.
invade Earth and destroy Earth because there's nothing else you could do about it.
And there was nothing else to defeat those monsters other than the
the dragon scales
The
and
dragon
the
or
dragon
dragon
scales.
scales, right?
So without the dragon, yeah, the world would have been
pretty much it would
Dunzo.
have been a
Done.
wrap.
It would've
And,
been a
and the
wrap.
dragon almost was a wrap
Yeah.
because it started getting his energy
one of the
taken.
things I wanted to mention is the power that Wenwu had with the rings. It wasn't to its full potential. Like, yes, he was strong with them, but in order to activate the full potential of the rings, you have to be one with the dragon.
Yeah,
pretty
you
much,
have to have
because-
the heart of a dragon.
Yeah, so pretty much instead of trying to control the dragon, you kind of have to just go with the flow and
Be one with the dragon, right?
be one with the dragon.
Like
and
you're one with the force.
and that's when he did get the rings, they activated fully. That's why they were orange and not
Right.
blue.
Yeah.
But also showing his the nurturing and the love that was filled with him through his mom, not just like the
Yeah.
cold-hearted.
Yeah, because like you said, wearing the rings, is it hurt you? I think it does if your mind and your heart aren't in the right place.
Correct.
Mhm.
You know, like you still get power, but I feel like it can poison you and cause you to be I guess evil or dark or just lost in
Yeah.
a sense. So I think now that Shang-Chi has the rings, I don't think it'll hurt him in that way because of him tapping into it, the full potential.
And it gives him, I think it's going to give him everlasting life too. So
It will.
he's gonna,
Bye, Katie.
That's if he wants it.
if he wants it, if he continuously wears it and everything like that. I think when he wears it, when you do wear it, it preserves you within a certain amount of time,
Right.
and Wenwu had it on all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you put it away, then you start to age regularly, and then you put them on again. So I think I like how they made them powerful enough, but not overpowered.
Yeah.
Where Shang-Chi can now be
Shang-Chi-
fighting people of a higher caliber.
He fought a whole dragon.
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah,
He kamehameha at that dragon.
he did.
Yeah.
He did, for real though.
He did.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
not he did. I was like, God damn.
And I just thought it was great. Like right before Wenwu I think he gave the rings to Shang because he understood. He was like, wow, like I was wrong the whole
Yeah.
time, and this is it for me. And deep down, all he wanted to do was just pass his legacy to his son.
And he
Yeah.
did.
And he was able to do that before his soul was taken.
Yeah, because I
himself.
wasn't
thought
I
it was
wasn't
great.
considering him to be a villain throughout the movie. I saw him just as the
He's just
antagonist,
lost.
but yeah, he was lost and manipulated.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really awesome. And Shang, started to harness the power of the rings. I loved their fight, where, it was reminiscent of Wenwu's fight with his soon-to-be wife at that
Right.
time, and now he was seeing that in his son. So like it just added more to his worthiness. If he's like, I didn't notice any of
Yeah.
this in you, and now I'm seeing it in
I
this
just wanna-
fight.
I just
and
want to point
it's
out,
crazy.
even if they have the most power in the world, women still be choosing the wrong guys. I was watching this movie pissed. I was like, man.
random.
I was like, man. I was like, why?
I mean, he might have a point. You know, what? At least in movie universe.
Yeah.
But it was just really cool the way that they utilized the ring. I feel like that they utilized the rings in every possible way that you could imagine.
Right.
Combining all of them together.
Yo,
on one
he stepped
arm.
off of the rings.
Bro, it was fire.
He stepped on one.
It was fire.
Bro, it was so
Yeah,
dope.
like he could launch himself with it.
Yes.
That shit was so dope, bro.
Yeah, that shit was.
I can't wait to
it
see
was a
more
good
fight
movie.
scenes.
I just love that they brought dragons into the MCU.
Yeah.
So subtly.
everything's possible,
so
bro.
subtly.
Yeah.
So let's just fast forward towards the end. Obviously, they win. And then I guess
He destroys him with like a.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That
like
blast.
it was just like a it felt like a Dragon Ball Z movie. I was
Yeah.
like,
yes.
this is awesome. Like
shot a
this is what
Hadouken.
we want.
Dragon
He
Ball
shot-
Z was probably watching like, God damn, why did we do
Yeah,
this?
for real.
Why?
Like
Yeah.
just sending the rings into his chest and then like making them just explode with power inside of him, and the rings aren't damaged.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
so-
They're not
And-
even from this world, technically.
So going off of that, them not being of this world, it goes back to kind of like the beginning where they're having dinner with their friends. It was literally within a 2-week span, which they confirmed 2 weeks ago. You guys were parking valeting cars. Now you're over here saving the world.
Mhm.
They didn't believe them, thinking that she was just mocking. And then we get one of my favorite appearances throughout the whole movie.
Come with me.
You get Wong stealing a drink, pulling up like the G he is, saying you need to come with me. Katie and Shang-Chi walk through to go to the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Doesn't he drink that girl's drink?
He steals her
too?
drink. He
Yeah.
takes her drink.
And I thought that was gonna be it.
No,
But
I'm
but
so
then
glad it
like
wasn't.
they gave even more to it, and I was like, oh, that's
So
cool that we got that.
So we got
payoff.
the mid-credit scene,
yeah.
which shows 2 great appearances. One, we see Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and then number 2
With long hair.
with longer
Yeah,
hair.
longer. I was gonna say longer hair.
And then we see our boy Bruce Banner. Notice he is not Professor Hulk anymore.
No, but he still has a broken arm,
He still has a messed up arm.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
which I thought was. I don't know how I really felt about that. Like I really wanted him
With
to
the
be
arm?
smart. No. I know his arm is fucked, but I wanted to see him as Smart Hulk. And
I mean, he's still smart.
there's a
it's-
theory they did it because of money issues. Because he's gonna be in She-Hulk, they don't want to use the budget on him.
Yeah, on animating him to be Smart Hulk, which I understand, but
That's a
I
lot of
just
money.
hope that there is an explanation on why
Mhm.
he's
will
reverted
be,
back
yeah.
if he got to the point where they meshed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And another theory is that, the way that She-Hulk comes about is she gets a blood transfusion from Bruce, who is her cousin. Now I can't see Bruce willingly giving his blood to his cousin, knowing that, hey, I'm like
Yeah,
this.
it's
Like I
gonna
don't
be
want to
something
give that
else.
to you. But what I'm thinking is that she may absorb the Hulk from him and revert him back, and she may now have the Hulk inside her, and then kind of learn through that. So
Right.
that's just a theory, because this takes place after Endgame. But it was really exciting to have their
Yeah.
conversation. Wong found out that the ring is a beacon that's calling to something or
Galactus.
tracking something. We don't know what it is.
My
or who it
assumption
is.
or my theory as of now is that it's attached somewhat to the Eternals, going off of what you said. You
I agree.
believe the Deviant was
that the
basically with it.
deviants,
Yes.
yeah.
So I'm sure it's among that because, like they said, the rings are older than 1,000 years old, right? He's had them for that long, but it only activated that beacon once Sean started using them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just a theory for now. We'll see what happens when we do
Yeah.
our episode on the Eternals.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
what do you guys think?
about the movie?
I guess just in that portion or
Oh,
about the movie
that-
overall.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty cool, seeing Bruce and Captain as Captain Marvel, in the hologram, and
Yeah.
pretty much Banner saying "Welcome to the circus" and
Mhm.
introducing them like
He's
You're
now
a
officially
superhero now.
he's officially an Avenger.
Yeah. That's just so easy. That's
yeah,
just,
it's
that's just
pretty
so
cool.
fire.
So I mean,
Mhm.
overall, the movie was good. I really enjoyed it. The
I
martial
give it
arts.
a 8.5 out of 10.
I give it a 9.
I give it a 9 also.
I give it a 9. It's on par. Like I said, it's on par with Black Panther. I mean, even down to the soundtrack.
So we'll touch base on that right now. The only reason I give it 8.5 is because of Aquafina. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Tell
She
us
did
how you
grow on-
feel.
I like
It's
Aquafina.
I was calling her Awkward Fina throughout the movie.
I mean,
That's how she's always been.
It took me like 5 to 10 minutes to really get used to like their banter. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Mhm.
And but I really started to enjoy it when he went to go see her family in the
Mhm.
beginning of the film, and they had that family dynamic of like just really getting and seeing the Asian culture in a way that you would only get if you were part of the Asian community or
Right.
were closely tied to it in a sort of way.
Right.
So
You understand
just-
how that dynamic works.
exactly, and I like how that has been opened up to millions of people now to
I love
see
it.
that, and
I love it.
I just think that's beautiful and brilliant. And again, talks about family. This
Yeah.
is the theme going forward. Even the Eternals are a family.
Yep.
They are.
Thor. I think Thor 4 with Love and Thunder is gonna be about him finding a new family because
Guardians,
the
and
Asgardians are
Lady Thor.
exactly
Right.
like they're pretty like his world, his family got destroyed.
Right.
With Thanos.
But
and
now
everything
he's
like that.
rebuilding
But
a
now
family.
he's rebuilding a family,
Right.
and I think that No Way Home, like I think that actually Peter's going to be losing his family, but that's just a theory,
Right.
of mine because I think everything's going to go to shit for him.
Poor guy.
Yeah, for real. But a lot of these other films, is going to do that. I think Guardians is going to be about them losing their family. Like they had a family and now it's pretty much being destroyed.
Well, you know who has a
Guardians.
family? Vin Diesel and Fast. I'm just kidding.
And then, of course, it's going to finish out with the first family of Marvel, which is the Fantastic Four. So I think that's how it's all going to...
That's just gonna
The
be
whole
so
phase,
great, bro.
Yeah,
I think that that's where they're going.
That movie is supposed to be technically the end of this phase, starting into phase 5.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
yeah. We'll see. We haven't really got anything off that, but we do have a handful. Before we get into the soundtrack, I do want to talk about the handful of stuff we got going on. We mentioned Eternals.
Right.
The trailer looks insane. I think that's gonna be on par with like an Avengers type movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of the group aspect of
I
it.
just love how in
very
the trailer.
practical.
Right. I just love how they finally addressed like, why didn't you guys help with Thanos? And
Yeah.
they were told not to get involved.
Yeah.
So I
unless
really
it
look
was
forward to them.
deviants.
Yes, I look forward to them elaborating on that
Mhm.
and seeing every single Eternal and what
Yeah.
their powers are and being able
The
to
cast
show.
is so
Bruh,
crazy.
We are going to
good.
get the voice of these Celestials. I don't think
Yeah.
people understand. Like
People aren't ready, bro. Because
hearing
it's
them talk about like just hearing them speak is
Yeah.
going to be
It's gonna be a
insane.
crazy
bro, it's just gonna be.
origin.
It's all gonna be undertone from now up until the movie gets here.
Yeah.
Until we see the Celestials on screen, it's gonna be very, like, okay, it's there, there, and then boom. Next thing you know, it's.
I think
it's
I'm gonna need
nothing
to
we've
see
ever
it.
seen before.
I think I'm gonna need to see it in IMAX. Like it has
Yeah.
to be the biggest with the biggest sound.
It's
that
gonna
I
be
could
possible.
ever-
It's gonna be insane.
possible.
I mean, just off the strength of the cast, we got
Morgan
Salma
Freeman's one of
Hayek.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman's one of the Celestials.
We got Angelina Jolie.
We got
Um,
Paperboy. Paperboy.
Yeah,
Paperboy.
I
All
forget.
about
I
that
forget his
Paperboy.
name. The Indian guy. I totally forgot. I should have pulled up the Eternals cast, but yeah, it's a pretty put together cast. Another movie that we're anticipating. The trailer came out was Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Finally, we got the trailer.
Finally.
We gotta
We'll-
do
we'll
our
talk about it
we gotta
too
do our
much.
deep dive
Yeah.
soon as that next trailer drops or as it gets closer.
Yeah, because this was a teaser, so much speculation, but like we can only talk about what we really seen in the trailer. And it wasn't even much, most of it was just Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and then we got Alfred Molina and
Returning
a
as
few
a
little
octopus.
things about the Sinister Six,
Right.
Mhm.
So as far as we know, we don't know the storyline. We don't know.
We know that the internet has been speculating and
Yeah,
coming up with
there's
their
a lot of
Theories are
theories.
everywhere.
speculation, yeah.
Honestly, we're not gonna add to any of that
Yeah.
right now because
All I
there's
wanna
so
say-
much that's there.
Is that it's Mephisto.
Oh my god.
Just kidding.
Not
Hopefully
Nightmare.
not. And then currently right now we have the What If series that's going on, which is
Yes.
Oh
providing
my lord.
so much color to the Marvel universe and so
Yes.
much what ifs.
Not only cut like dark colors. I
Yeah,
think is what you're talking
yeah.
about. That show is dark
It
right
is.
now.
It is dark. These are a lot more serious stories that are happening. I think that we're gonna get a couple lighthearted
Yeah.
stories, but right now
First one was a little
it's a-
lighthearted.
Well,
Yeah,
the so does was the T'Challa one. That
yeah.
was very
First and
lighthearted.
second were lighthearted. Third and fourth were a little bit dark, and this fifth one is gonna be, by the time that you guys listen to this, it'll probably already be out. But Marvel Zombies is gonna be the next one, so that's gonna be dark as well. And I'm surprised that they're doing that episode so early because it's only like there's 10 episodes and this is the fifth one. So I'm really, really excited where they're going. And all of the what ifs are canon. So
Right.
everything that
And
we
I
see
think-
there is happening in
I think
a
later
separate
on
universe.
in the series they will connect all together. So yeah. And then
I hope
there's
so.
there's shows like Hawkeye coming out.
Can't wait.
Is She-Hulk coming out this year?
Yes, it's supposed to.
I
Actually, no.
think that they're going to push it.
It's supposed to be January, February. I know it's supposed to
Okay.
come out
Yeah.
before Multiverse of
So
Madness.
Miss
for sure,
Marvel and Hawkeye come out this year.
Yes, and I think Miss Marvel may get pushed also. But I think we can guarantee that Hawkeye's coming out around
October,
Thanksgiving
November.
time. Yeah, it's like around Thanksgiving time, and then we're gonna have No Way Home. Apparently, Hawkeye story goes into what's going on in No Way Home also.
Interesting.
So I don't know if the villain connects.
I have
don't know
heard-
if it takes place
I
in
don't
New
know.
York
I think
or
it
if
was
it takes place around the same time.
I think it was a rumor, but I heard that the actor that played Wilson Fisk in Daredevil is going to be Fisk in Hawkeye.
Yes,
Which
he's
I
supposed
think
to
is
pop up
a
there.
brilliant choice because
Charlie Cox confirmed.
everybody
Oh, no.
from the Daredevil series is phenomenal.
Oh, they're
Yes.
fire.
And they should
They're amazing.
all be
including
included.
the
Yes.
Punisher,
Yes, including.
which I don't know how they're going to do because he's rated R. But
No, I think that it may come later, and I don't think that he'll ever get his own movie.
Right.
I think that he may.
Yeah, no.
I think that he can be like what Black Widow was to Captain America,
Yes.
Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Like you can just throw
or
him
like
in a
Bucky.
film.
We're not going to get
or
like a Bucky movie.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
you know.
Like we're not going to get
Bucky.
anything like
He's
that.
going to be with somebody, or
Yeah.
it could be
I would
like a
love
Daredevil
for him to get
Punisher.
introduced
Yeah.
as a Thunderbolt. That would be amazing. That would be absolutely
it.
cool. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
kind of how it goes.
Yeah, Marvel's had a crazy year. Black Widow, Loki, WandaVision.
It's only
Falcon,
up from
Winter
here
Soldier.
since they announced their timeline of everything. It's been up for Marvel.
Really
we've all
excited
been
for
very
what's to come.
excited.
We are in the thick of it because we literally
into the thick of it.
we got a What If episode and Shang-Chi in the same week.
That was crazy.
so
I love
dope.
it.
And that What If episode was awesome. Which
Yeah.
we will be talking more about What If in our quick dive series when we.
Yes,
Well,
we're going to
we're-
do a quick dive review of the entire series
Yeah.
once it's finished because there's just so much to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, that might end up turning into a whole episode. It may not even be just a quick dive.
we'll
we're going to
see.
probably
we'll see.
we'll
We're
figure it
still
out.
brainstorming now because there's a
Exactly.
lot going on.
One of the things that we also want to do is either for Eternals or for Spider-Man, we would like to rent out a theater
Yes.
Yay!
to watch it with some of you.
and it's
So,
very possible. We
yes,
just need to
definitely just
get it
stay
done.
tuned for details as we try and do that. We will have announcements coming up on whether we will or we won't, so we don't leave you guys hanging.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you are planning to see those movies, might as well just plan to come and see
Yeah.
it with us.
True.
And then the final thing we want to talk about is going back to Shang-Chi is the soundtrack. That
Yeah.
is literally, like I said, Marvel took the blueprint of Black Panther and applied it to Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Same thing with Into the Spider-Verse. Like
Yeah.
this is up there.
Mhm.
So I just want to point out and shout outs 88 Rising.
88 Rising.
88
Y'all did
Rising
this.
was all over this. Shout out to DJ Snake.
I'm glad they're getting their
Nikki,
spotlight.
Rich
Yeah, it's
Brian.
It's been so
bro.
long.
Rich
Yeah.
Brian. After the,
Joji is a part of 88
Joji,
Rising.
yeah.
I don't know if he was on the soundtrack, but
I don't believe so.
I don't think I saw that he was on there. There was a guy
Um,
named William Hua.
yeah, it's
think
a
who's,
it's a few
is it
people
William?
in 88.
I think that's his name.
No.
One of the artists. I think he's like in the
Warren.
second.
It's
Warren. Wow, my bad. This is cool because I got introduced to a lot of artists listening to
Yes.
the
I've heard
soundtrack.
about 88 Rising
Yeah.
before a little bit.
Me too. And
through
they,
YouTube.
Yeah, and they have a festival. Like they've been growing. I know
They've
when
been, yeah.
when Rich Brian first came out, and he was Rich Chigga. Everyone thought it was a parody, which
Right.
which you know he used that a little bit and just like, but he by the time his album was coming out, he really wanted to do this for real. And I heard that album and I thought it was great. And I was like, okay. And then he realized, okay, if I really want to do this for real, I'm going to change my name and we're going to start taking this seriously. And then I started to see like artists like Joji and like 88 Rising signing these people. And I think it's really good for the Asian community to have. Yeah, you know, just
Timothy DeLaGhetto,
yeah,
even
they-
Aquafina,
and they pretty much
is in
brought
that whole
everyone
thing.
together. You know what I mean? It's like their own like selection, their own.
It's
you
just
know,
like they did with TDE on the Black Panther album.
Yep,
exactly.
they did it with
exactly.
88.
You get this team together that knows how to curate really well, and everybody knows their positions, and boom, let's
I
go.
thought it was dope that Simu
Liu has his own song.
Yeah.
Simu Liu has
He's
his own
a singer
song.
as well, and him getting featured on there, I think, is super dope. Like, to be an artist
He
and
got
to get
double
featured.
the check.
Oh yeah,
sheesh.
double
Not
the
only
check.
that, shout out to Sway Lee for another slap with Jhené Aiko.
Not even
sure.
a part of 88 Rising, but he happened to sneak in.
Not only that, Anderson .Paak.
Yeah.
our
Anderson
boy.
.Paak and Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars helped write that.
Yeah. So shout out Anderson .Paak for taking lead vocals on Fire in the Sky. But it ended the movie too, which was a great note to end on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But just to highlight a couple other people as well.
Nicki.
We got Nicki, we got Rick Ross, we have Saweetie, man.
It's
Warren
just really, really
Way,
cool
yeah.
for them to make a soundtrack that
Sweetie getting a check too.
getting the
McDonald's
check.
with the
and
Sweetie
Marvel.
Meal and Marvel.
getting
Yo.
the check. So shout out to just all the artists who got to contribute. It must just feel amazing.
That's gonna be us
to-
one day, guys.
I know, just to contribute to a soundtrack,
Yes.
to a comic book character, to this Marvel universe that's just so huge, and it just goes to show the lengths that Marvel is willing to go to make it as authentic as possible. You know,
Right.
and
Not
I
only
love
that,
that.
cover all avenues. You know, like
Yeah.
without you can't have music without a movie. I was talking about this yesterday, just random topic. Like even when they had silent movies, there was somebody in the theater playing the piano. So music is always going to be one and the same with movies, and
Right.
music can even do without movies because you're painting the picture in your head however
Right.
you want to
Yeah.
envision it. So
Music doesn't need movies, but movies need music.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I like that.
Marvel knows that, and in knowing that, they want to reach as many people as they could because music can touch anybody, you know,
Right.
in any part of the world you're in. So it's really cool, and they still stay true to it with getting 88 Rising, you know, and
Yeah.
them knowing the culture a little bit because that's kind of where they come from, or at least their family members come from, and yeah, it's pretty.
Marvel
it's pretty
just
cool.
realizing
wonderful.
that they need Black excellence, Asian
Asian
hair.
excellence.
Yeah, exactly. All those cultural everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
why not pay the people who are contributing to
Exactly.
what you're bringing to
Yeah.
the table? You know, everybody got to eat.
And
off of
everybody
this,
being
and I-
prideful of where they're
Absolutely.
from, as well as taking
Absolutely.
pride in the work.
It is
Yeah.
it is amazing. I commend them. 88 Rising, you guys did your thing. That album
Yes.
is incredible. I really enjoyed listening to the whole thing, especially during the whole Donda CLB. You know,
Yeah,
for you
again.
guys to come out
Yeah.
during that period,
Yeah.
and still like get the recognition that you did. When you have two of the greatest artists of our generation drop an album a week apart, it's just
It
incredible.
literally dropped in between.
Yeah, it's just really, really incredible to get
That's
that.
crazy.
So yeah, you know,
Yeah,
shout out
congrats.
88 Rising. You guys did a great job.
Again, me and Norika, we've both posted this, but the Shang-Chi
It's
album
better than
is
both.
better than CLB
It's
and
better
Donda,
than both, bro.
and I will say that faithfully. And I will defend
It's
it.
better music. It is actually
I
better
feel more
music.
attached to this album than I do any of the other
If
ones.
you haven't listened to the album as yet, please listen to the Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings official soundtrack album.
At least it has artwork.
Yeah,
the artwork is fire.
Artwork's fire. I know that everybody is, you know, you're doing your Donda, you're doing your CLB. I get it. But this music is just really good. Like, it's just really good
Yeah.
music that you're
Diamonds.
listening to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh,
The
Diamonds
second
and
song?
Pearls?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Diamonds and
bro,
Pearls is
it's fire.
Yeah.
Diamonds,
Yeah.
pearls.
Yeah.
I know you got it. Yeah, it's just fire. Anyways, y'all, that has been episode 56 of the Soundflick podcast. Again, if you like how the podcast sounds, if you like how the podcast looks, be sure to hit up our friends at productiveculture.com/podcast. Let them know that the Soundflick boys have sent you, always holding us down as we hold them down. But with that being said, we will see you guys soon. Stay tuned for more deep dives, updates on all things movies and music.
We should put the song at the end of this podcast. Give them a little taste.
Oh, yeah.
Which song?
Let's give them the Rich Brian and the and
Rick Ross.
yeah, and the Rick Ross record.
Okay.
You want to give them that one, or you want to give them Diamonds and Pearls?
I kind of want to give them
The
Lazy
Anderson?
Susan.
Oh, Lazy Susan was fire.
Lazy Susan, 21 Savage, and Rich Brian featuring Warren Hui and Masiwe. I believe that is the name you pronounce it.
All right.
We're going to play it right now. But once again, my name is Ace Sincere.
This is Norik. That's cool.
And Skywalker Mike.
Y'all have a great day. Bless up. See you soon.
Peace.